I think that's one thing that we've got to be mindful of. We're not going to be here forever. My whole whakaaro on life is, although this carcass and this physical specimen of a man may not be here, my wairua and everything that I've left behind will live on forever. Damn, that sounded quite wary, didn't it, whānau? A lot of these videos like this, whānau, are pretty much motivational and inspirational tools for myself. You know, I experience all these things that you experience. Okay, we're all human beings, but I think at the end of the day, it's how we respond. How do you respond to life's situations? How do you respond to life when they throw you a fucking curveball? When life throws you a bloody curveball, are you gonna whack it out the park? Or are you gonna let that ball hit you in the face? Or are you going to let it hit you in the face like this, whack, and say, ngā mihi, I'm cracking on. So remember, it's all really, at the end of the day, we're in control, whānau. We are player one, not two, player one. Okay, you've got the opportunity, just like a PlayStation when you're jamming Tekken, okay, you've got the opportunity to control that bugger, to control that character. You're the main character. We are the character and we're in control. So just imagine yourself, okay, you're going to do a little combo, right, to push you towards your desired outcome, or are you going to let it go on random selection, free play? Let it take over, let it control you. Remember, player one is us. Okay, we're in control of the buttons, and the buttons that we control with ourselves, we can push. X circle fucking triangle square. X circle triangle square, push, that means pursue. Or we can go, nah, and then life runs rampant on us. Sometimes when I have a korero, I just let whatever whakaaro that Tane's giving me flow. And I go off topic quite a bit. Okay, quite a bit, but you know, hopefully you get something out of all of these talks that I'm having. And I think it's important to have, you know, that perspective on life. Sometimes you've got to go extreme, but at the same time, listen to your tinana, listen to your body, listen to your kariaroto. I'm not saying shut down all of these emotions and feelings, but what I'm saying is, how do you respond to your emotions and your feelings? And like I said before, okay, I'm still learning, I'm still growing through these. I, you know, experience these things that you may experience. We're all human beings, but it's how we react and how we respond to these situations that determines the outcome. Whether you want it to be a positive outcome, whether you want it to be a negative outcome, you sit in the middle. So you can decide whether you want it to be a positive or a negative. It's totally up to us. But it's all about learning, growing. Sometimes you do get stressed out and you react badly to situations like I have done in the past, like I still continue to do from time to time. Okay, remember, human beings are meant to evolve. Human beings are meant to learn from their mistakes. Human beings are meant to make mistakes. Okay, we're not perfect. All right, I've never met a perfect human being before. When I'm saying all these things, okay, I'm coming from a place of me still learning and growing. But if I can pass on some mātauranga or some knowledge that I have that helps me be in a better state and frequency throughout my day, throughout my life, then I feel obliged to pass this sort of information on. So hopefully with all of this korero you can use it. You know, I speak quite with a lot of intent and conviction, but it's coming from a good place, coming from, you know, my ngākau. It really is, because I experience these things on the day-to-day, and I know that, you know, people out there, we're all human beings, you know, and we experience these things, and sometimes it takes, you know, listening to someone that is, you know, has a relatable story or is going through the same thing, and some new information and strategies to deal with these kariaroto, these emotions, these feelings, or these stresses of life. Sometimes it's this new information that you listen to through a podcast, through this, whatever it may be, that will help you and enhance you and push you to whatever you're trying to do in your life. Remember, the sun always rises in the morning. So what that means to me is we've got another opportunity every day. One day, we're not going to be here, whānau. One day, this video will be floating through the internet and I won't be here. And you know, I go to those extremes when I'm feeling down. I really go to those extremes. Why? Because it gets me, you know, it gets me to look at life in a different perspective. It gets me to look at life for what it is sometimes. It gets me to be grateful just to live, to walk, to talk, to move around, to experience life, to experience the taiao. It really does. I want to talk to everyone about perspective. Perspective on life, perspective on how you wake up in the morning. For example, one thing that I like to do is I like to check myself prior to getting up in the morning. If I'm feeling in a moment that I am feeling quite dreadful about the day ahead, or if I'm quite stressed, or if I am in a negative state, then what I like to do is change my perspective on life itself. Now, a simple sort of thing that you can do and that I implement every day, for example, to give you some context, today I was feeling like shit. I didn't feel like kind of doing anything, but I knew if I did nothing, i.e. come out here today and go for a run, then my state of being and my frequency wouldn't be of the frequency that I want to be living in. I was lying on my bed just, you know, not so long ago, about an hour ago, and when I was lying there, I just, you know, like I said, we all have our days where the stresses of life, you know, may get to us. And today was one of those days for me. When I was lying in bed, I could have had that little split moment to I could have had that moment to stay in bed, but what I decided to do, instead of, you know, swallowing in my own sort of stresses of life and sort of playing victim to how I was feeling, I had a split moment there to just think of all of the things that I'm grateful for. Now this, you know, word grateful is kind of thrown around these days, and I do understand, you know, it is an important thing to think about, you know, and it definitely helps me in my day-to-day pursuits. It definitely grounds me. It definitely gives me a different lens in life. So, for example, I was lying in bed, and one thing that I really, you know, like to go to, and it's this right here, if I know, might sound quite extreme, okay, but to give me motivation and perspective on life, I literally had a moment to myself where I said, at least I've got the opportunity to wake up. At least I'm still alive. Now, like I said, it's a quite extreme measures to go to and to think about, but for me, that's what I go to. It really just helps me to see a different lens on life. If I'm feeling, you know, stressed, if I'm having a shit day, if bills, you know, I just paid some bills and fucking that got on top of me, whatever those stresses of life may be, I automatically go to, shit, kei te ora hau. I'm alive, my body's okay, my tinana's okay, even if it's not okay, even if, you know, your insides and how you're feeling is not the greatest at this point of stage in your life. But I want you guys to think of that extreme, the extremes of shit. At least I get to wake up. At least I have a life. You know, like I said, it sounds kind of hectic, but at least I have a life. You're quite stressed about X, Y, and Z. I want you guys to go to the extreme of thinking, shit, at least I have a life. At least my eyeballs woke up this morning. At least I had the opportunity to breathe. At least I can be out here. Look at this. You know, this is what life's about, whānau. See, I'm geeing myself up through this korero. You know, like I said, I had a shit kind of a day. And then I also want you guys to be aware of when your emotions, okay, are running rampant within you. I want you guys to be aware of what's happening. Being conscious of what's happening on the inside. So for a lot of the time, you know, we're so unconscious in what's happening with our feelings and our emotions. And then also, I want you guys to be more mindful of how your day went prior to the day that you're in, where you're feeling like shit. Last night, I didn't sleep too well. That could be a contributing factor to why my day is not the greatest, or why I'm feeling X, Y, and Z, why I'm feeling a little bit low in my energy, why I'm feeling low in my frequency. So it's just be mindful of your day prior. And sleep is important. Sleep is very important, whānau. This is something that I'm trying to, implement into my routine and regime, having good, adequate sleep. In saying that, sometimes life will get on top of you, i.e., you don't have that amount of hours that you set out for yourself, whether it be 8 or 9 hours. Okay, sometimes life gets on top of you and you only get 4, 5, 6 hours shared sleep. But you still have to pursue what you're trying to achieve. So being mindful of your sleep is important, okay, having good, adequate sleep. But at the same time, if you're trying to pursue something that's just way beyond your own belief systems at the time, way beyond anyone else's belief systems, and if you've got a dream, okay, and you've got some aspirations, sometimes the sleep has to be put on the back burner. Or sometimes just life presents itself like that, and you just got to get up and you got to crack on. At the same time, you can still be mindful of getting some great sleep. But what I'm trying to, say here is, I want you guys to be more mindful of implementing sleep into your routine where you can. But at the same time, life gets on top of you, and you might get 4 or 5 hours worth of sleep. So Merry Christmas. Merry Christmas, whānau. Okay, that's what life is sometimes. And that's what I try to remind myself. A lot of these videos that a lot of these videos like this are pretty much motivational tools for myself as well. When I'm saying all these things, I experience these things. Okay, so I'm not trying to come from a place of being a know-it-all. Hell no. I'm just trying to get you to think bigger picture, whānau. O tira, tēnei te mihi kia koutou. He mihi tēnei ki ngā atua, ki te wai nei, ki te roto nei, ki te tai ao a tāhua e manaakiti ana hau I tēnei wā. Tēnei te mihi kia koutou. Anō hoki, ki te hunga ora, kia koutou. Tūturu whakamaua kia tina. Haumie hui e, tāi ki e.